Welcome to Beachy Head, the highest chalk sea cliff in Britain, located near one of the sunniest towns in the country. Today we're going to take a walk along this beautiful coastline. Visit a lighthouse that got up and walked away from the edge, a second lighthouse built out in the sea itself. Visit the home of a consulting detective who was never here, and then go to the pub. Beachy Head rises 162 metres straight out of the English Channel. This chalk was laid down under a warm, shallow sea at some point around 100 million years ago, built up from the skeletons of countless tiny marine creatures. Then the land lifted, the ice age ended, sea level rose, and the channel carved straight through it, leaving Britain looking like someone took a bread knife to the edge of Europe. The cliff loses around half a metre of itself every single year. Well, it's been a long old trek and we're finally getting there. We're going to visit our first lighthouse, Belle Tout, and I think it's had the most eventful life of any lighthouse in this country. It went up in 1834 after the MP John Mad Jack Fuller watched a ship smash to pieces on the rocks below. The problem was that nobody had considered that the cliff tops are exactly where fog lifts, so ships kept wrecking anyway because they simply couldn't see the light. By 1902, Trinity House gave up and built an entirely new lighthouse instead. We'll get to that one shortly. Belle Tout carried on in private ownership, surviving the Canadian Air Force using it as target practice during World War II. But the real drama came in 1999. Erosion had crept so close that rockfall just left it 4 metres from a 60-metre drop. So, engineers did something never attempted anywhere in the world. They picked up the entire 850-ton building, put it on greased steel beams, and slid it 17 metres back from the edge. It took 3 days and was watched by television crews from around the world. Belle Tout Lighthouse is now one of the most unique coastal guest houses in Britain. I didn't even realise that you could stay there. I'm going to have to book that one, I think, for the wife's birthday or an anniversary. I think that would be pretty cool. So you guys better start watching so I can afford to pay for that. Down at the foot of the cliffs is the lighthouse that replaced Belle Tout, and it wasn't just built near the sea, it was built in it. Engineers sank a coffer dam into the seabed and ran a cable line down from the cliff top to lower 3,600 tonnes of Cornish granite into position, block by block. It took 2 years, and when it was finally lit in 1902, it did the one thing Belle Tout never managed. It stayed visible in fog. 3 keepers lived out there for over 80 years, using an explosive fog signal that made this one of the last lighthouses in the country to warn ships off with actual detonations. Electricity didn't arrive until 1975, and it was fully automated in 1983. So now we're going to make our way all the way back down to Birling Gap, and then we're going to head over to part of East Dean, not the main village of East Dean. There's a little green with lots of flint cottages around, and one very famous detective who retired there. I wonder if you can guess who that might be. This is Birling Gap, where you can watch geology happening in real time, which is either fascinating or deeply unsettling depending on your relationship with solid ground. In 1878, 8 terraced cottages were built along here to house coastguards. whose entire job was watching this stretch of coastline for smugglers slipping contraband past in the dark. The irony is that the same cliffs that had made this spot perfect for spotting smugglers are now busy eating the cottages one at a time. What started as a row of 8 is now down to 4. And the National Trust, who owns the site, have made a rather blunt decision about it. They're not fighting back. No sea walls, no rock barriers, nothing. They call it a managed retreat, which is a polite way of saying they've accepted the sea is going to win and would rather document the process than wasting money delaying the inevitable. In the 1950s, there was 30 metres of grass between the cottages and the drop. These days, it's closer to 5. If you're thinking about buying a clifftop cottage here, might I suggest a very short mortgage? Here we are at the Birling Gap. You're surrounded by these gorgeous cliffs around us. Now, what I thought we could do is just have a little look around this corner, because although I actually do live local to here, I haven't actually come down here an awful lot. If you come down a bank holiday or a weekend, it's packed and it's not really that enjoyable. But to come down on a Wednesday morning like this, and it's actually beautiful. So we'll take a little hike across here. What I'm going to do is going to go up here, have a look at these. These are amazing. I don't know anything about geology really, but I do like the way you see lines in cliffs when there's different things going on. And what I find fascinating by this one is this flint going all the way through. Anyway, see ya. Let's go and see what we can find. I really do have to watch where I'm stepping. Oh, look at that. That's a lovely stone, isn't it? It's like a tiger. Which is a coincidence. That brings me on to the Tiger's Inn, which we'll be going to a little bit later on. I love places like this. I like to bring my kids and we do rock pooling, try and balance over the stones and see what we can find in these. We do one now? Come on, imagine that. Imagine the first one we left, there's a crab. I'm going to lift this stone here. See if there's a crab underneath. What do you reckon? Okay, well that was an anticlimax, wasn't it? Sorry about that. Okay, well, the good news and the bad news. The bad news is I don't think I'm going to make over these rocks. The good news is there's a seal. I don't think it's picking up on the camera. I'm hoping you can see him. There he is. How cool is that? Okay, well, it's time to start heading back. We've got another long walk ahead of us. Well, that's enough of the cliffs. Let's head over to East Dean and go to the pub. Just inland is East Dean, and its village green might be one of the most quietly charming spots on this entire stretch of coast. Flint cottages, a war memorial, and apparently the retirement home of the world's most famous detective. Now, most people know that Sherlock Holmes lived at 221B Baker Street, but what you didn't know is he also retired down to the coast, and this is where he lived. Arthur Conan Doyle wrote that Sherlock Holmes retired to a small farm upon the Downs 5 miles from Eastbourne to keep bees. East Dean fits that description almost suspiciously well, and Conan Doyle himself lived not far away and is known to have visited. Sometime in the early 2000s, somebody put up a blue plaque on the house on the green, and it's still here. And there's even a wooden beehive sitting in the back garden to really seal the deal. Is it true? Almost certainly not, but that hasn't stopped Sherlockians turning up for decades to walk the same lanes Holmes supposedly wandered with his bees, which tells you everything about the pull of a good story over inconvenient fact. And right on the edge of the same green sits the Tiger Inn, which has been serving drinks in one form or another since somewhere around the 12th century, with the current building dating from the 16th. Nobody's entirely sure where the name comes from, but the leading theory traces it back to the local Norman lords, the Deneen family, which coat of arms featured 3 leopards. Somewhere over the centuries, as the story passed from landlord to landlord, 3 leopards seem to have blurred into one simpler tiger, and the name just stuck. Low beam ceilings and open fire, and a history of smuggling connections that every old pub around here seems to claim, whether they earned it or not. It sits about 80 yards from Sherlock Holmes' front door, so if the detective really did retire here, he had a very short walk to the bar. Can't fault the man's priorities. So what have we learned today? We've seen a lighthouse that got up and moved to survive, a second built directly in the sea because the first one didn't work, a row of cottages losing a fight with the tide, one house at a time, a village green that may or may not have hosted fiction's greatest detective, and a pub old enough to have served drinks to actual smugglers. All crammed into a few miles of chalk and grass that most people only ever see from the car window on the way to the beach. And that's the thing with places like this. They're all over the country, right on your doorstep, hiding stories and mysteries, and I want to find them. So, if that sounds like your kind of thing, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.